Hey, I'm Magnus, and in this video I'm going to give you 10 warning signs and symptoms of alcoholism, or the correct medical term, alcohol use disorder. And this is not something that I came up with, that I listed my own little reasons or symptoms, but this is from the actual website of the National Institute of Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism. And the way that a healthcare professional would diagnose someone with AUD is that they use the Statistical Manual of Mental Disorder, 5th edition, to determine if someone has the condition, and if so, if it's mild, moderate, or severe. Now, for me, it was never hard to figure out that I was an alcoholic. It was so blatantly obvious, both to me and to everyone around me, because of the way that I was drinking and how it was affecting my life. But I always sort of told myself that I had it under control because I could have a break at any time and that sort of thing. But in any case, I'm going to go over these questions and I'm going to help you determine what's the case for you. And these questions, or signs and symptoms of AUD, are the exact same questions that a healthcare provider would ask you if you were to see them in person. And all of these questions, they're based on your drinking habits over the last year. So let's get started with the first warning sign. Did you ever drink more or longer than you originally intended to? For me, that was always the case. Once I got started, there was no stopping it. I would always continue much longer than everybody else. And sort of my entire purpose of drinking since I was 18 was to get fucked up with my friends. It wasn't to have fun or to go out to socialize or talk to girls. It was always, let's get as drunk as possible, both at the pre-party, in the bar, and in the potential after party. There were some nights when I did intend to, I'm going to take it easy tonight and I'm only going to have a few, but it was impossible to stick to that. Once I got started, it was always another reason for another drink. And once my sort of sober mind got drunk also, then it became impossible to stop once I got going. Warning sign number 2. Did you, over the past year, want to stop or cut down on alcohol, but you couldn't? Yeah, for me, I obviously knew that alcohol wasn't good for me. And I don't know how many times I told myself, on Monday, that, okay, I'm not going to drink this weekend. But you could probably have locked me in a dark room over the week and my body would still know, when it was Friday evening and it was time to get drunk. And that was the thing, once those thoughts start coming, then everything becomes about how good it would taste, how great my body would feel, and how every problem in my entire life would get fixed if I just had one drink, which was part of the addiction. I didn't realize at the time that wasn't me. It was the addiction speaking and sort of taking over my thoughts and my life in many ways, so that every single thing becomes about drinking and nothing else. Anyways, let's move on to the third warning sign here. Warning sign number 3. Did you, over the past year, spend a lot of time drinking or dealing with the after effects of it, like getting sick and that type of thing? For me personally, I spent a lot of time drinking. My worst drinking period was in Budapest. I was living there in 2014, so 8 years ago, when I was 26. Then I was drinking 5 days a week and a bottle of vodka each night. And my hangovers were bad then, but they weren't nearly as bad as they were years later, which was also the case. When I started drinking regularly when I was 18, then I was drinking basically every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. It was quite normal in Sweden to do that. But my hangovers, they used to be bad. Always spend at least one day in bed, but it was nothing, there was no mental issues back then. Whereas a decade later, then I would still be one day in bed. That was like a clear as day. But now the alcohol and the drinking had started to affect me so bad mentally that I could feel it up to 5 days afterwards. And I'm talking about anxiety, depression, numbness. I was shaking a lot, and yeah, I was like very severely depressed. So I got a lot of suicidal thoughts, and basically thought that life was meaningless, and I was like living in a dark cloud for like 4 days. So if I drank on a Saturday, then life would basically be dark and empty and meaningless until Thursday evening. And that's when I could almost time it on a watch. And on Thursday evening, I would sort of automatically start feeling like better, where, okay, life isn't as meaningless as I thought it out to be. There are actually some good things to it. But the worst part for me was that it didn't matter what I did to feel better. Like, I could exercise, I could go out in the sun, I could have a swim, I could have sex, I could take supplements or anything, but nothing made me feel any better mentally. I just had to go through those 4 days in basically an emotional hell, and there was nothing I could do to stop it. But the weird thing was, like, when I've just been through those horrible days, then on Friday, and when Friday would come along, I would forget what I've just done the entire week. So the reasons for drinking would pile up again. Anyways, let's move on to the fourth warning sign here. And that is, did you over the past year wanted to drink so badly that you couldn't think of anything else? Yeah, I told you this earlier for me. Like, that happened every single Friday. It basically took over my entire brain, and I couldn't think of anything else. And every single thought became about how to get it, and there was no way to turn it off. That was the worst part. Like, I was stuck in a mental prison in a way, with someone that keeps nagging about it and how great my life would be if I just had one drink over and over and over and over. But this didn't just happen on Friday evenings either. Like, it happened on every single social occasion, or even it got so bad in the end that I couldn't even sit on Christmas Eve with my family that I love and enjoy it, or just be comfortable there if I didn't have alcohol. In fact, it was so bad that I would hate it, every second of it, if I didn't drink. And that gives you an idea, like, just how dark this is. Like, that you can't even enjoy like a time with your loved ones without drinking like that. Would you actually hate being with them if you didn't have it? Warning sign number 5. Did you over the past year find that alcohol and drinking interfered negatively with taking care of your family, your job, or perhaps your school? Yeah, this was a very clear one for me. I mean, if I drank on a Saturday, then the next day I would just be in bed all day, unable to do anything. I don't have a family, so it didn't really interfere with that. Or, I mean, of course I have a family, but I don't have any kids. But if I drank on a Saturday, then Sunday would be gone. I would just be in bed all day. And Monday, when I had work to do, then I would so often find a way to rationalize that drinking made me do my job better. Like, I was flirting with this line, like working, taking meetings drunk and doing just work tasks, because in my mind I could do everything better if I had a little bit of vodka in my system. And once those thoughts started coming, then I couldn't turn it off. And I was sort of flirting with this line, like, I know I shouldn't be working drunk, but once I got started and I saw that it actually worked and I could produce some results with it, then I had opened that door and there was no going back. I could even show up completely drunk to the gym and push myself through a 20 or 30 minute run on the treadmill, because I made the agreement with myself and I sort of rationalized it that, oh, if I just have one little drink, then I would feel better and good enough so I could take myself to the treadmill and from there, like, do my work even better. But it always ended the same way. I mean, yes, I would feel better after the run, obviously, but it was just a way for me to always find a reason to continue drinking. Okay, so I think we are at warning sign number 6, and that is, in the past year, did you continue drinking even though it was causing problems with your family or your friends? I can't say that my drinking caused too much problems to either my family or my friends, like in general, because I was drinking home alone by myself until I passed out in the end. But I did like some pretty bad things towards the end or the last few years. Like I ruined my dad's 60th birthday. Like it was a surprise dinner for him. He thought that he was going to go to dinner with his wife, and then all the kids were sitting there as a surprise for him. And then I basically got fucked up drunk, and I turned into a monster, and I crossed the line that I thought I could never do, because this is a man that I love and respect as much as anyone could ever. Like, he is my hero and always have been, and I never thought that I could do this to him, but I did. And that was a bit it was a bit terrifying even to me that I could do those things there. Warning sign number 7. Did you over the past year give up hobbies or activities that you like doing in order to drink instead? Yeah, as for me, I didn't really have any hobbies or activities besides, like, I was exercising a lot, and I kept that, even though yes, I was drinking and I was an alcoholic, but I usually managed to still train like pretty actively, but I didn't see it as a hobby really. It was more like exercise for me in order to feel better in a way. But I know that other activities and hobbies, like, they simply wouldn't interest me if it didn't include alcohol, and that includes also just being around my friends. Like, but even thinking back, like, I don't even think that we would see each other if it wasn't alcohol involved. Warning sign number 8. Did you over the past year make like stupid, irrational decisions that could harm you? Like, for example, it could be showing up drunk at work and using a machinery. Perhaps walking through a dangerous area of the city that you know you shouldn't be walking through, but now you just don't care. Or it could also be something like drunk driving. For me, I completely stopped caring about me for like quite a while, and I could do some, I've always done like crazy and stupid things when I've been drinking, but even that got to like the next level. Like, I remember we went to Dahab in Egypt in December of 2019, and we're up there in the desert with these pickup trucks, and then we're going to drive down from there back to the city, if you will, and I'm trying to jump up on the roof to grab the car, and two of my closest friends, they sort of have to like pin me down from doing something absolutely stupid and reckless and dangerous that could kill me. Because that is one thing that alcohol does to you. Like, it doesn't make you braver, but it does make you so that you don't care what happens, and it removes the sense of risk. Warning sign number 9. Did you over the past year continue to drink even though it was causing you problems mentally by anxiety, depression, or any other symptoms, or perhaps after giving you frequent blackouts? Yeah, I have already been over this one for me. Like, I would always wake up super anxious and depressed, and that was also one of the worst things with it, because alcohol relieves anxiety, and I knew it. And just one sip of alcohol could cure me of my situation instantly. And of course, that was always the first thought that would enter my mind, and that was the main reason for why I drank the next day so many times. Like, it would actually make me feel better for about 4 hours, and then the situation would get even worse than before, and of course amplify even more and make the next hangover even worse. But at the time, like, you don't see it that way. You just want the pain to stop and give something that would fix the situation, like right then and right now. But it's also like, of course it's madness. Like you just poisoned your body and put yourself in this situation, and now you want the one thing that could make the situation worse, and you continue to want it. Like you're stuck in this destructive cycle. But when you're in it, you don't realize it, or you don't care about it at all. It's only for the ones from the outset who see it and who can see it for what it is. But unfortunately, many of those people, like, they choose to distance themselves from the individual, then the alcoholic, because they don't want to get dragged down in the misery with them, and it's perfectly understandable. But for me, from being a severe alcoholic stuck in that dark mental hell, and now living a life without alcohol and never drinking again, then I have such big understanding of their situation. And the thing, like, I would like you to understand with this is that a person in that place, it's not them, it's the addiction. Because once the addiction is gone, that person can be completely fine again. Like, I abused alcohol severely for 15 years, but then quit drinking overnight and just changed my entire life after that. But what many friends and family members do is that they judge this person and they look down on them in a way like, get your fucking shit together. Like, how can you not see that it's ruining your life? But it's not that simple, because your entire brain gets hijacked by the addiction, and all thoughts becomes about like how great your life would be if you just had one drink. I will make a more in-depth video about this so you get a more clear understanding, and it's more, this could be something that a loved one could watch in order to get a better understanding and empathy for the situation that their loved one is going through. So they can perhaps do better and not give up on them, and actually, in fact, do something to help them out of it. And now, the last warning sign, and warning sign number 10. Did you, over the last year, find that your withdrawal symptoms had gotten worse? I'm talking about insomnia, like trouble sleeping, increased heart rate, like maybe it feels like your heart is beating out of your chest. I had that quite a lot, and almost, I can't say every time I drank, but it happened quite often. Shakiness, like for example my hands, they would shake quite a lot. It could be like you're sweating, or it could also be that you're having seizures. All right, so now we've been over the signs, and only you can know like how bad this really is and how many of these you ticked off. And I mean, just looking at this list that I've just been over, then I could very easily do like 7 out of 10, like straight off the bat, which the National Institute of Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism say that any of these symptoms is a cause for concern, and the more symptoms, then the more likely it is that you need to get in touch with a healthcare professional, or in fact, the more urgent the need for change is. But one thing I want to add to these questions and these signs and symptoms that they didn't really mention here is that, is this a temporary thing for you, or is it a permanent? Because in the Western world, I can almost guarantee that almost every single person would be titled or labeled as an alcoholic at least one phase during their life. Like, it could be perhaps during their breakup and they drink a lot in order to deal with it, or maybe not deal with it. It could also be that they're on vacation and just enjoy to have more drinks that time than they normally would. Or perhaps they're on a party trip for a month with their best friends, and that is just how life is during that point in time. So I want to ask you, like, is this something that is just a phase that you're going through at the moment? Or is it more permanent effects that you can't get out of? Because in the end, for me, like, it didn't matter if I drank once a week or once a month. Like, I even had a break of 116 days without alcohol in 2017. But by then, like, the damage had already been done. So I couldn't enjoy life without it. I hated being sober. I hated all social occasions if I didn't have alcohol. But it might not be the case for you at all. One little test you can use to figure out like just how bad your addiction or dependence to alcohol really is that go to a social environment or a place where you normally drink and then don't. Like, just go to this pre-party or dinner or social event where everybody's drinking around you. But for the first 30 minutes, just pick up your phone and set the alarm for 30 minutes and then pay attention. Listen to your thoughts and what your mind is telling you and how your body is feeling. Because I couldn't even enjoy Christmas with my family without hating it. Every single second sitting with my family that I love was mental hell and torture, and I couldn't think of anything else, any worse place to be. It might not be the case for you, but one way you can find out like just how bad it is, then just do that and pay attention to how your body is feeling. But be honest with yourself, because it doesn't matter who or which healthcare professional you go and see, if you're not honest with yourself and what's going on up here and how your body is feeling. And for me, the only way I could stop feeling like that and learn to appreciate normal sober moments that I could enjoy before I started drinking is that I had to quit forever. But my philosophy on alcohol now is that not everyone is like me. Not everyone needs to cut it out completely in their lives. Like, I know my dad can enjoy one glass of whiskey, like some Friday evening sometimes, and then he stops right there, which I think is, for me, miraculous. Like, I don't understand how someone can stop drinking after just one. Like, it is impossible for me. But also, the friends that I drank with for more than a decade, once I changed my drinking habits, like, they sort of woke up in ways too. Like, some of them now, they can actually have a pretty healthy relationship to alcohol and stop drinking after 2 or 3 beers and that type of thing. And I could never do that. So for me, it was the best choice to never drink again. But it might not be the case for everyone. But if you're interested in learning more about how you can quit drinking alcohol forever, then I'm launching a new training program soon, using the same principles and the same steps that worked for me and how I was able to get rid of it forever, basically overnight. And yeah, my mission now is that I'm going to help as many as possible escape that dark place. So if you feel like alcohol is ruining your life and you want to cut it out of your life completely because yeah, it's ruining it, and you know that you would be better off without it, but you just can't seem to quit, then click on the link description or yeah, up here in the video somewhere. I will leave more information about it. In any case, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.